is to you, Ruth. Fuck you, Captain Ruth. I'm gonna fucking get you for what you did today.
Since we're on a podcast, and maybe I'll make a challenge here on the podcast, and we can have it on the record. Ramee, I would like to challenge you to.
Can we strike that last question? Because that just broke confidentiality. Can we strike that?
We got screaming. We got challenges. We dive deep with Mr. Ramee, Rahman, and Captain Leo Slacks today on the first episode of Papstalk. You do not want to miss this one. Before we dive into it, let's hear a word from our first sponsor. Ever feel like laundry day is trying to steal your joy? Well, say goodbye to those laundry blues at Deez's Laundry, where they've got the best rates in the city. At Deez's, they believe in rolling your problems away. They're not just a laundromat though. They are your laundry day heroes. In exchange for some change, and boom, the dirt is history without losing more than you should. So why stress? Trust Deez's Laundry, because getting clean shouldn't cost you an arm and a leg. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to get into it right now. Season 1, Episode 1. Hit the intro. Mr. Ramee, welcome to the show, my friend.
Oh my God! Thank you so much, Paps, for having me on.
Thank you for being here. It is one of my ladies and gentlemen, he is one of the busiest people on the planet right now. Thank you for taking time out of your day. That's first and foremost. You're one of the busiest people on the planet, and you're
of course,
taking the time to be here. I did a little bit of intro before we hit that intro, but I feel like it might be the best to have you introduce yourself to the listeners of Papstalk right now.
Well, thank you so much, Paps. Well, for those who don't know who I am, my name is Ramee Rahman. The best lawyer in town. That's right. Got an undefeated record of 21-0. Anybody who has me on their retainer, my friend, you will be acquitted of all charges. Now, that is right. I offer a 100% guaranteed win rate. KD's through the roof. MLG status, one would stay.
21-0 is a number that I don't think a lot of people can wear the badge of. That is something that is.
Oh, come on, Paps.
It's pretty crazy. It's pretty crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, of course. It is what it is. Hard work and dedication gets you places. You know what I mean? That's why I always gotta say, you guys make sure you gotta ring Ramee. You understand? That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure you gotta ring Ramos.
Gotta ring Ramee. So let's bring it back a little bit. Let's talk about the history. How did you get into this field? Because personally, I feel, lawyers are kind of the unsung heroes of our world right now.
100%. I think this goes back to my first body. That's right. About 7 years ago, I blew up the Mission Row PD and killed the first commissioner of the city, Sam Bass. And I was looking at charges. And to be honest with you, when I caught my first body, I didn't know how to get out of it other than to learn the law and find the loopholes within the law to get myself acquitted of all charges. And Paps, let me tell you something, that's what I did.
Incredible. This might be a redundant question, but was law ever kind of on your radar before that? Or did you learn how to find these loopholes and these little ins and outs within law?
I'll tell you what, I started watching Suits. I started watching Suits, all 9 seasons of it, and let me tell you, I can for those, if you know, I can relate the most to Louis Litt. But I take myself more of as a Harvey guy, and I am the Harvey of the Los Santos city. That's what I am. Undefeated, never lost. Winning is the only option.
That's incredible.
That's right.
Incredible. As someone, I haven't dabbled with either sides of law. I'll be honest with you. I'm just kind of a bum that figured that I can talk into a microphone and hopefully people will pay me. I'm curious about both sides of that coin. And now, as someone that can represent people from let's just say colorful backgrounds in general, people that have things they don't want to be publicly broadcast, so to speak. Is it difficult for you to take on all their baggage? You have to represent all these people all day, every day. How is it for you mentally, physically, holding on to all that information?
Well, I relate to the streets. I relate to all parties, all types of people. Here's my line. You want to know how I sell them on getting the retainer? I always tell people, listen, you don't need a criminal lawyer. You need a criminal lawyer.
Incredible. And again, ladies and gentlemen, one of the busiest people in the city right now, and you can hear the phone ringing off the fucking hook.
It's off the hook. It's off the hook. I got so many clients.
Tell me a little bit about your history. Where'd you come from?
GMO free, molecular. I came from the streets of Los Santos. Actually, well, Liberty City. How do I see this? I'm from Brooklyn.
Okay.
Yep, New York. Born and raised in New York City.
After the war and after the madness that went down happened, everybody kind of was kind of, it felt like they were all crawling from the shadows. How was that for you? How was that period of time for you?
Oh, well, let me tell you, now the streets of Brooklyn, New York City, it's really hard. It's really hard over there. You understand? But you know what I mean? I made it out. All right. And here we are today.
Here we are sitting in a lush studio talking about your successes and all everything that comes with it. 21-0. What are some of the highlights in those 21s?
Well, I mean, I might have arguably got my biggest case win today. My guy, guilty on all charges, but I got him acquitted of all of them. You know,
are we allowed to talk a little bit about that?
Yes, it's already been appealed. It's all good. Yeah, I got a guy here who. Can we strike that last question? Because I just broke confidentiality. Can we strike that?
Wait, do you want it bleeped out? Do you want it bleeped out?
Yeah, bleep that last question because that was confidential.
Okay. Wait, let me just make a note of it.
In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
So there are a lot of misconceptions, generally speaking, about lawyers, and there are a lot of jokes. You know, a busload of lawyers off a cliff is a good thing, or a dime a dozen, and the whole nine. What are some of the misconceptions you've heard about people, and how does it affect you in your job?
Well, now, to be honest with you, there is a lot of profiling that's going on. You know, there's a lot of profiling that is going on in the city of Los Santos, conducted by the LSPD. You know, I had another case earlier. The guy was wearing all black, so they detained him. You know what I mean? Like, what are we doing over here? You know what I mean, or what?
Yeah,
that's a common. You know, it's crazy out here.
It is pretty crazy. And speaking of the police department in general, you basically have to deal with them day in and day out. Those are, I mean, for lack of a better term, your co-workers, so to speak.
I know.
How crazy is that? Having, you know, had the history you've had and the upbringing that you've had, what does that mean to you? Is that a struggle every day, or is that just an easy breeze every day? 'Cause,
I mean, I can bring one of my coworkers down here. We can have him sit in the second chair if you want.
Yeah, let's do it. I'm ready to rock and roll.
Yeah, give him a call here. Leo, I'm doing a podcast right now, and they want you to come down here to be part of the podcast. Can you come down? It's at Weasel News. I mean, we're rolling right now. Yeah, 10 minutes. All right, sounds good. Please hurry. All right.
Yeah, absolutely. We got Mr. Ramee's coworker coming in just a little bit, but until then, we talked about the relationship you have with the PD in general. Do you understand their approach and generally their workload, or does it just kind of amplify what the rest of the city kind of and we all know what the rest of the city kind of thinks of the PD right now?
Sure, I'll be so happy to answer that question for you. Which camera am I looking at here? Which camera?
Right, that one right in front of you, right there.
This is to you, Ruth. Fuck you, Captain Ruth. I'm gonna fucking get you for what you did today. I'm not fucking around anymore. Just you'll wait and see. Captain Ruth. Sorry about that. There's some things I need to get off my chest. And honestly, Captain Ruth is one of those officers that needs to understand and learn the law. She needs to learn the law.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Paps Talk. Thank you so much for sticking around. Thank you to all the sponsors, and thank you to Mr. Ramee, our guest today. We are also now joined by Captain Slacks. Captain Slacks, we've already heard from Ramee earlier today. It is tradition around here to have the guest kind of introduce themselves to the listeners. Captain Slacks, in your own words, who are you?
Well, I'm a nobody. You know, I'm an asshole from home.
An asshole from home. Can you dive a little deeper into that? Not into the asshole, but what is the meaning behind that?
No, that was just my humor. I'm just a man who's trying to make a difference in the city. Somebody who's trying to build a police department to help make sure that law and order is always thriving within Los Santos. That's my mission. That's my goal.
Absolutely, absolutely. And for one, I think the law and order in Los Santos and the law enforcers in general are an unsung hero here. As I was talking to Mr. Ramee earlier, the lawyers are as well. And Mr. Ramee here told us that Captain Slacks, you are somebody that he works closely with. Can you tell us a little bit about you guys' relationship in general?
Absolutely. Mr. Ramee and I, we go way back. There's a lot of history. There's a lot of back and forth, a lot of conversations. In fact, I was the first person to hand him an L in court. But that was important because that conflict brought us closer. Me and him going at it in court was something that, helped our relationship. And I got a better understanding of who he is as a lawyer. And he got a better understanding of who I am as a cop.
Now, for not for me, because I'm hip as AF, as they say. But for all the boomers that are listening, what is hand him an L? What does that entail?
There was a bench trial where he allegedly ran over an EMS. Mr. Ramee believed he was innocent. There was enough statements and witnesses to believe otherwise. There was a bench trial where he was found guilty of assault and battery.
Okay.
Oh,
right. Is that Mr. Ramee? Is there anything you want to comment on that specific situation there?
Yeah, I don't think Leo here is aware of what's actually been going on in the world of litigation. Have you heard, Paps?
No, I have not.
Really? We got breaking news.
Breaking news here. There's actually been an appeal that's been successfully won on that. So that L has now turned into a W, Mr. Leo. And I believe a new case law is going to be put into effect tonight over here in the streets of Los Santos.
You heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen. And law put into effect tonight as we record this.
That's a W, though.
Right. That's a W. Now it's called the hit and Ramee. I mean, you have it on your notes, right?
Yeah.
Paps?
So this is one of the things we did a lot of research and we have a lot of information that I would love to dive into. But Captain Slacks, what is it like losing the appeal on that court case for the hit and Ramee?
Here's the thing. Sometimes you try your best to find the truth, and unfortunately, you might think you have it right, but turns out you don't, and there's nothing wrong with that. There's no shame in that. You're in the LSPD, we care, right? It's not about being righteous. It's about doing the right thing.
Classic high road.
Speaking of the right thing, I also speaking about all the research that we've done, I wanted to ask you about how difficult it is for you to pick up your phone. There seems to be a lot of information that we've had that picking up your phone might be an issue for you. Is that something that is due to your busy schedule or?
Oh my God,
that's an odd question.
Wow.
I wonder why you asked
me
that.
Who asked that question, Paps?
There was. Let me look at my notes here. There's 17 different people that asked that question.
What?
17.
Oh,
well, listen.
My God, that is crazy.
I just don't like to talk about my personal life because there's a lot going on. There's a lot happening as far as my life, but I am very busy. I am wearing many hats. I do respond to a lot of calls. So to all the folks that don't pick up the phone from, I apologize. I'm really sorry in advance. It's just the life I live.
Is that, excuse my crassness, but is that the reason you tend to look into things but not actually do anything about it? That's
that is not my motto. No.
Oh, okay. All right. Because I'm just reading off my notes right here.
I like to follow up. Up for sure. I don't like things hanging like that. I like to follow through. My police work is not about half-assing things. It's about full measures all the way.
The Los Santos Sanitation Union is on a mission. They want you to join the clean team. They're not just in the business of waste. They're in the business of building a cleaner city. The Los Santos Sanitation Union is now actively buying materials. If you've got something they can use, they've got a deal for you. Just ask a union head or manager for more details on how to get involved. But that's not all. They're on the lookout for solid and reliable workers to join their ranks. If you're ready to roll up your sleeves and keep the city clean, they want you on their team. Make a difference with the Los Santos Sanitation Union, where cleanliness meets opportunity. All right. Well, this is a great segue into talking a little bit about something that's much bigger than us. We've all been through a pandemic. And one of the things that was brought to my attention doing research for the podcast in general was the pandemic that the EMS ERP pandemic that's happening on the podcast, and we wanted to get your
what?
There I don't know if you know this, Ramee, but there is an EMS ERP pandemic at the hospital.
Oh my God.
And we just wanted Captain Slack's kind of take on it. Captain Slack, is there anything you can add to that?
I heard murmurs about that.
Really? Do tell, please.
I mean, you don't remember the interrogation you had on me, Slacks? That is insane. Huh.
Yeah, if you could maybe explain more about that.
Yeah, actually, now that I remember, you tried covering that up. That's right here, ladies and gentlemen. There was a cover up here. I was going to get interrogated by Leo Slacks, and he seemed to quickly brush under the rug the current ERP pandemic that's going on at the hospital. Seems like he's a little bit suspect. Is that right, Paps?
I'd love to hear Captain Slack's take on it. Is there a reason that Mr. Ramee here might be saying you're brushing things under the rug?
I'm not sure where these accusations are coming from. I've seen nothing but pure professionalism from the EMS. I've had nothing but exquisite and fantastic talks with them. I've never seen such behavior of, ERP or anything erotic of nature when I'm talking to them. So I think these are just things I'm not saying, so I can't really make a comment on them today.
So Captain Slacks, just in general, having been, you say false accusations, is that something that happens often in your line of work, or is this a shock to you right now?
Yeah, I mean, this happens. Sometimes people lose themselves. They're not sure exactly where they are, and they make mistakes, or stupid fucking mistakes can happen. That can happen.
Sounds like we have a pandemic liar on our hands, isn't that right? Sorry, just kidding. Go ahead, guys. Go ahead. Sorry.
I kind of wanted to, as a podcast host, I kind of get a lot of slack, no pun intended. I talk for a living, so I say some things here and there that might fall upon some ears that might be a little more vulnerable than others. We'll start with Ramee. Is there something that you guys have had in terms of an interaction with each other, some friction, some disputes you've had that we're allowed to highlight here today on the episode?
No, actually, Leo and I have gotten along very well. It's actually the other captains that I don't get along with. I get along with Leo. I get along with the other captains, but there was some friction there, in the department. But no, Leo and I, we've been A-okay. Pretty square, isn't that right, Leo?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. I mean, there's more you want to talk about, Leo. I mean, we're here on the podcast.
Yeah. No, there's definitely no friction. Everything is good. It's rainbows and sunshine everywhere. That's how I see it.
Okay, hell yeah.
And Captain Slacks, we asked Ramee before you joined us about his relationship with the PD and just how integral of a part that he plays to the justice system. I wanted to get your input on this as somebody that is heavily invested. What do you think Ramee's role, or lawyers in general role, is for the PD? And please tell us a little bit about how much, if there's appreciation or kind of anger towards what they do. What is your opinion on that?
Oh, absolutely. I would love to go into it. My relationship with Ramee is pretty simple. It's like a love-hate relationship because I respect him for what he does. I respect him for standing on his business. I respect him for going out there and making sure that he does his job best because he helps me do my job better. Sometimes he comes to me and he brings issues and complaints that are very valid, and sometimes he's a pain in the ass. So I don't mind it. I appreciate Ramee for what he does. I think it's great having him as a lawyer because we need somebody who's competent to try to challenge us. If we're not challenged, how else will we grow?
And Sam, Leo, thank you so much for telling me those kind of words. And I have nothing but the same to say back to you, Leo. Honestly, I think we need somebody who's competent in the team of captains. I think we need somebody who is somebody that he knows how to dish it and give it. We don't want a yes man, and I don't think Leo Slacks is that type of person.
Great.
Yasu Khan coming from Mr. Rahman. Thank you.
Speaking of competent captains, in preparation for the podcast, we have been polling a whole bunch of different people from around the city. Where we've been polling. That's how I got in contact with Mr. Ramee, and we have a whole bunch of people lined up for different episodes. I wanted to talk a little bit about Captain Ruth and why the poll numbers for Captain Ruth are very low. I know specifically we can have an episode with her eventually somewhere in the future, but I wanted to get your take on that, Captain Slacks.
Low poll numbers on Captain Ruth, huh? Not surprised. Let me tell you. Go ahead, Lee. Let me hear you. Let's hear this one.
Listen, there's always going to be a public opinion, a political trend or a social attitude towards certain captains. There's highs and lows. You don't have to like everybody. Captain Turner, Captain Ruth do a fantastic job of reflecting who we are as far as the LSPD. They have a different way of doing it. I respect them, and I love working with them.
Is there anything you can tell us? I know there's a lot of legal rope that we might have to jump over or anything like that, but over the last 2-3 weeks that stands out for you in terms of a case or an arrest or anything like that really talk about here on the podcast and let the people know how hard it is being Captain Slacks.
The only thing I can think of is January 6th. I was there when it happened, when I saw an attack on our freedom, an attack on our democracy and election, where a group of individuals thought they were doing the right thing. But in fact, they're going against everything this country is all about. And I saw what happened. I saw the protests. And I saw somebody reach for a knife. And the first thing I thought to myself, I'm going to stop it. I got in the thick of it. And instead of that person being stabbed, I got stabbed instead.
A literal hero sitting right next to me, ladies and gentlemen.
I don't want to call myself my hero. I'm just doing my job.
That makes it even more great. I'll be honest with you. Were you there as a police officer or?
I was. I had to pause my academy actually to come down there and help out.
Incredible. I want to ask a little bit about that history, kind of, if you can, Captain Slacks. We've all been through rough times. It's been a hard few years for everybody. Just we try. What I try to do on this podcast is try to humanize the people of the city and make sure that the rest of the folk can relate to you. What's the craziest thing or the scariest thing you've had to do in times of despair over the last 5 years?
I mean, you're asking a very loaded question here.
I think it's fair. It's fair to ask that. I mean, it's we've all been to hell and back, I feel.
I think the scariest thing I've experienced was today when I got 5 phone calls back to back from Ramee.
Did you pick those phone calls up, or did they go straight to voicemail?
After 4, I picked the one up.
Oh, okay. All right. So that checks out what the audience was saying.
I like to point out that going back to the first question that you asked about him not picking up phone calls, I think, it answers in itself, right? He doesn't have to call him 5 times. And it's just a shame. I know I had the same problem with officers back in the day. Let me tell you about Commissioner Sam Bass. This motherfucker. Okay. This guy, Commissioner Sam Bass, he never picked up the phone. This fat fuck would always look into things. And it got to the point where I literally had to kill the guy. Like, you know what I mean? And I don't know. I really hope Leo doesn't do the same.
Was that a criminal threat on live TV or a podcast?
I would like to say, disclaimer, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, and Officer Slacks, we have already talked to Captain Ruth, and anything that is said on this podcast cannot legally be used as evidence against anybody. What can be used is evidence in terms of investigating location or a crime that is yet to be committed.
Of course.
But outside of that, we are. It meets the statute of limitations.
I know.
I understand. It's just the vibes I'm getting. Is I just got called down here, and we're having a podcast, but I'm feeling a signal coming here from Ramee next to me. I just can't tell where it's coming from, but I'm feeling something.
Signal, really? Well, what is that? What do you mean?
Let's dive into that. What are you feeling, Captain Slacks? What's Ramee?
I feel like there's gonna be an explosion in the near future in my life.
What makes you think that? I'm just a lawyer. I'm a legal man. I'm a government worker.
You guys are on the same team. That is correct. That's exactly why I wanted the both of you down here as co-workers. The first thing I asked Mr. Ramee here is how was it working with people, especially from the PD and stuff like that. And he said one of my co-workers is Captain Leo.
Okay, well, that's great. That's great. I mean, that's music to my ear. I love working with Ramee. Like I said, sometimes I love working with him. Sometimes he comes to me with complaints, and I just don't want to hear him, but it's necessary.
Sounds a little more like a family to me. Ramee, what do you think of that? Are you guys?
It sounds like he hates that he loves me. You know,
Yeah.
and I feel the same. I hate that I love this guy. You know what I mean?
Is it a complicated relationship?
Go
Well, it
ahead. I'll
depends
let
which,
you
you know,
answer this one.
it just depends which side of the tracks we're on. Sometimes on the same side, sometimes on opposite tracks. And that's just how it is, you know? That's how the cookie crumbles.
All right. Absolutely. You guys are. I want to thank you a million times for spending time with me here. I know you guys both have very, very busy schedules. Captain Slacks, we can do a part 2, maybe dive more into your world, and Ramee, we can do a part 2 diving more into your business and your world as well. Of
course.
Thank you both for being here, ladies and gentlemen. We're gonna hear from one more sponsor before we hit the outro. Do you guys have anything to plug? Anything you want to tell the listeners of Papstalk?
No, not at all. Make sure you just gotta ring Ramos. That's all.
You got to ring
Go
Ramee.
LSPD.
Sorry, what was that, Captain Slacks?
I said go LSPD.
Go
So
LSPD. Those, those are 2 final words. Ladies and gentlemen, with that being said,
Actually.
Okay.
One more thing. Since we're on a podcast, and maybe I'll make a challenge here on the podcast, and that we can have it on the record.
before we hear the challenge, I want to let you all know that you, the listeners of this podcast, can subscribe to get notified whenever a tape is available. That's right. Simply text subscribe to 420-110-8320 and we'll notify you when the next episode drops via text. That's subscribe to 420-110-8320. Back to the show.
Ramee, I would like to challenge you to a football game.
Oh, man.
Bro, you don't want this.
Yes, I do. And then we can make a bet. You know, winners gets, XYZ, and loser has to do something.
Really? A football game?
We're 1-0 so far. We beat the Italians last week.
Okay, let's run this up. How much? We want to put money, or you want to put?
We could do a bet. We could do money. It's up to you.
If I win, you have to quit PD. If I lose, I have to quit. I have to lose my bar.
Oh my God! High stakes.
Okay, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
I don't know if I can put my badge in a football game.
Listen. How about this? If I win, I get a gun license. If I lose, you get a key to my house.
I can't. Like I said, I cannot do something out of the bounds of the law. I can't even give a gun license. It's a DOJ thing.
All right. How about this? Keys to the house. You get when you win, I give you a key to the house that I live in, and if you win, I get a key to the house you live in.
Okay, deal.
Okay, deal.
What do you want to play?
Whatever you want, I'm down.
All right. The weekends are the best, so let me know when.
Oh, that's like the worst because I'm not around.
Okay. Well, we can do like a Friday. Are you around Friday?
Not today, this Friday, but we can do next Friday.
No, next week. Next week.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. You heard it here on the podcast. Next Friday, football game.
You heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen. Next Friday, football game, high stakes.
6v6, by the way, Ramee. That's what we play. So bring your 6. Of
course.
Oh, I'll bring my
good.
6.
Sounds good.
Perfect. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening. Episode 1, Season 1 of Papstalk is wrapped. It's only fair that you guys use the words hit the outro to officially end this episode. So whenever you're ready, say hit the outro.
I hit the outro.